and welcome to this very exciting, interesting roundtable this morning on adolescence and girls' health. Let's invest in a nation's future. We have a very, very exciting panel today. Wonderful group of participants, amazingly experienced in their own right. My name is Naresh Karmarkar. I'm part of the RISE Core Organizing Committee, and my job is only to introduce you, all the panelists to you. And from there, I would leave it to them to take us through a wonderful 1 hour of conversation around this topic and end up with hopefully some very exciting collaborative action. So going right ahead into the introductions to our wonderful participants. First off, we have Yoshita Dave. Ms. Yoshita Dave has been a counseling psychologist and an educationist for over 30 years, besides being an intimacy educator, an intimacy coach, and sexual wellness expert with several other qualifications. She is currently a sexual wellness affiliate with mymuse.in. She has delivered several lectures on the subject, besides writing numerous articles and conducting trainings. We are waiting for Dr. Komal Saman to join us, but let me just introduce her. Dr. Komal Saman has a lot of educational qualifications. She's the medical director of the Saman Maternity and Nursing Home and a senior consultant DNB, teacher and unit chief, VN Desai Hospital, Mumbai. She's ex-honorary professor at Dr. R.N. Cooper Hospital and NHBT Medical College. She's held several positions in bodies related to gynecology and obstetrics, and she has several publications in Indian and international journals, besides editing several books, newsletters, and textbooks. We next come to Dr. Bipin Pandit, the lone male on the panel. Dr. Bipin Pandit, MD, DGO, DFP, is the director of Mukund Hospital. He's held several important positions on prestigious medical, specifically gynecological and obstetrics bodies in Maharashtra and India. He received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Association of Medical Consultants in 2019. He's an honorary gynecologist at the Dr. L.H. Hiranandani Hospital, Powai, and also at the Seven Hills Hospital, Marol, and several other hospitals. He's published a book, DocuSmart, on ideal documentation. Next, we have Dr. Sudeshna Ray. Dr. Sudeshna Ray is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist at Jaslok Hospital. She's the medical director of Gayatri.com, an online health partner for women. She has been closely working with a team of nutritionists, dermatologists, fitness experts, and women physicians relentlessly to offer tailored solutions to adolescents and young adults for their struggle with PCOS and other hormonal disruptions. Gayatri has so far a strong community of 20,000 women partnering in various health solutions. Next, we have Dr. Sangeeta Srivastava, academic and administrative advisor, KES Schools, K-12, and also the principal of Sri T.P. Bhatia College of Science. She has several educational and research qualifications against her name and has conducted numerous trainings for students, teachers, and principals alike. She has received numerous awards and recognitions, including Maharashtra State Best Teacher Award 2016-17. She has written and published 8 books and written several articles in a number of publications. And finally, we have Dr. Suman Bijlani, who is a gynecologist and obstetrician practicing for 29 years in Mumbai. She has experience with teenage counseling of many years and has handled umpteen teenage pregnancies. And she is, of course, very much abreast and dealing with teenage gynecological issues on a regular level. Dr. Suman will also be the moderator of this session. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Suman to set the context of this roundtable and take the conversation ahead. All the very best. It's a pleasure to have you all with us today. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Naresh, for the kind words. And actually, I'm very excited. This is my first RISE Summit that I'm attending, and I'm really loving it here. Thank you, Naresh, once again. And this topic about adolescent health is something which is very close to my heart. I have been practicing for 3 decades now, and I have realized and I've noticed, as I'm sure all of you also have, that there are certain issues which are becoming very health issues which are becoming very prominent in this millennium. And some of them are rising at a very alarming rate. So I think there is definitely a need to address these issues and to improve the health of our generation. Okay, and now fortunately, we have here 3 different sectors, 3 verticals. We have the gynecologist, we have the psychologist, and the educationist. So we can actually now, look at some ideas, share some ideas and strategies wherein we may be able to implement, come up with some ideas which may be able to help implement certain strategies to prevent these conditions or to curb this kind of an alarming rise in these conditions. So let me start off with let's ask Dr. Bipin Pandit. Dr. Bipin, you have been practicing gynecology for such a long time. You have a very 4 decades of practice. So could you just tell me what are the common adolescent gynecological problems that you face?
Thank you, Suman. At the outset, I must thank the Rice Foundation and Mr. Naresh Karmarkar and Suman Bidlani for giving me this opportunity to be with you. Adolescence is a very delicate thing. It's the phase of life between childhood and adulthood. There are various definitions, for roughly it is from the age 10 to 18. It's a unique stage of human development and an important time for laying the foundation for a good health. Adolescence is difficult passage in life for many girls, even those who have a strong safety net support from the family, friends, and in the school. The physical changes, like what happens during puberty, coincide with enormous emotional and psychological challenges.
But
There are a lot of
specifically, gynecologists, what would you find, as a gynecologist?
problems regarding appearance, like if they have some problem like PCOS, like polycystic ovarian disease syndrome, they have acne, they have rapid weight gain, they have rapid growth and biological changes, many physical and emotional problems, and sexual attractions, cognitive development. They're career conscious, they're emotionally dependent on other people, and we have to be very careful to treat them, to counsel them, to advise them about many things, about their diet, about their exercise.
So, Yoshita, you've also been seeing a lot of teenagers, I'm sure. So, have you, as Dr. Bipin has pointed out, this is a very delicate stage of our lives. So, have you noticed some particular psychological problems which are very common to this age group? I'm not able to hear you well. Can you all hear her?
Yes, yes.
No.
Unmute, please, Yoshita.
She's unmuted. We cannot hear you, Yoshita. Yash?
Yoshita, yeah, if Yash, you could help Yoshita, please. I think the audio has not been enabled. If I'm not mistaken. Dr. Suman, you can move on.
Okay, what we can do is, in the meantime, let us move on to Dr. Sudeshna. Dr. Sudeshna, what are the trends that you're seeing in adolescent health? So,
Right.
have you seen anything which is increasing, in the millennium? What are the trends of health concerns of girls at this age?
Right. Thank you, Naresh. Thank you, Suman. Thank you, Rice Foundation, for giving me this wonderful platform to discuss a very, very important topic that we have already agreed on. So the trend is a very important thing to address. We all know that teenage have these problems, but the trend is that the Gen Z and the millennium, they feel that they know everything. We are talking about the Gen Z now, who are in the adolescent stage. And first of all, they know everything. And the Google has made them a lot more informed in terms, which is good, which is in terms of education, it is good, but they are also misguided that this is okay to do it and this is fine by everybody. So social media has played a very big impact on the health patterns of these girls. So the trend is more towards sedentary lifestyle problems. The trend is more towards junk eating problems. The trend is more towards a little uninhibited sexual health issues. So these are the trends that we are seeing, which are.
Let me specify that I would like to know what are the trends of health concerns, which are the.
So that is what I'm saying. So the trend of inactive lifestyle, which is giving rise to hormonal health issues,
Yes.
including polycystic ovaries that Dr. Bipin said, the trend of junk eating at the tip of a finger, ordering Zomato at any point of time, the trend of not sleeping well, all these are adding to the hormonal disruptions and giving them a plethora of health problems related to hormones.
So
Okay, and
basically, what
then
the point you are trying to make is that hormonal imbalance is something which is on
yes,
the rise, and so is polycystic ovaries, which is one part of the problem. Am I
absolutely.
right on that? And
Yes.
also, you
So lifestyle issues. So whatever we are seeing now in terms of health is more towards, more out of the lifestyle that they are leading, that they are away from what we call this as healthy lifestyle. And hence we are having these problems. And the main thing, health, is the hormonal health that we are talking about.
Okay. Yoshita, are you back? Can we hear you? Let me. Could you just
Mute.
unmute
Unmute.
yourself, please? Yoshita, could you unmute yourself? You are on mute. Yash, could you please help her? No, you are on mute right now. Yoshita, you need to press the unmute button. Now, what is happening?
No.
No,
Yes,
we are not
ma'am.
able to hear. I'm so sorry about this, but okay, fine. I would like to know about, Dr. Sudeshna, I want to know from you, what is polycystic ovaries that you just spoke about?
Right. Polycystic ovaries is a very, very common, it's like an epidemic hormonal disruption that is happening. It is, that's happening means that is we are coming up with more diagnosis. It's basically the hormonal imbalance between the male and the female hormones, which gives rise to some particular problems in an adolescent girl or in a young adult. They are mainly in terms of irregular periods. They can have facial hair, unwanted facial hair. They can have acne, which has a different pattern. Now, pimples are a very common thing at this stage, but PCOS will have a different pattern of acne. So, and the struggle with weight. So these are the four main pillars of polycystic ovaries that we are finding in the PCOS, that we define PCOS with.
So, Dr. Bipin, would you say that weight is a very important part of polycystic ovaries, the PCOS syndrome? Dr. Bipin, you need to unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself, Dr. Bipin.
Yeah. See, classic polycystic ovarian syndrome is one of the commonest endocrine metabolic disorder which you find in women of reproductive age. But it is becoming more and more common in adolescence. It is
But
very
being overweight, does it worsen the problem? Is it a real problem here?
Yes, yes, it is a real problem, and the incidence is increasing. There's no doubt about it. Maybe because of the lifestyle changes, because of unhealthy eating, lack of exercise, and sedentary life. It is very disappointing that we have still not been able to know the exact cause, and hence we cannot completely cure this. But having said that, PCOS doesn't not mean that there is no cure. There's definitely a cure, and very good medicines, and usually patients come to us after marriage with PCOS, with infertility and other problems, and young girls come with overweight, acne, hirsutism, lack of confidence, and so many other things. So
Dr.
basically,
Komal is back here with us. So, Dr. Komal,
Yes,
welcome. So sorry, we
yes,
know you're in the operation theater. I'm so glad you could
yeah,
join
yeah.
us. So, could you just tell us what are the long-term implications of polycystic ovaries? I mean, is this really a concern? Can it cause problems to her in the long term?
Yes, see, PCOS may be diagnosed early, but it does have an implication on the entire life. And when we try to counsel them, we are also try to tell them that this can not be completely cured, but we can definitely control it and we can manage it. And they need to control this not only during the reproductive or during whatever they want, the desired effect is achieved, but it requires a long-term treatment and management, and they should be aware about it because it can cause metabolic syndrome. These patients are high chance of
What
having
is
cardiovascular effects, hypertension, diabetes in the longer run, and even cancers. So we really need to counsel them, and they need to be checked. So it's not the PCOS affecting the adolescent or a reproductive age group, but it is a disease of a lifestyle, and it can happen at any age. So this message should be considered, and it should be kept in mind always.
Dr. Sangeeta, this question is for you. Do you think that the girls today are quite aware of certain something like PCOS or hormonal imbalance? Do they really have enough information, the right information? Dr. Sangeeta, you need to unmute yourself. We've lost her somewhere. Oh dear.
The connection is lost.
Yes, Yoshita, can we hear you, Yoshita? Try speaking in. Can we hear you, Yoshita? We still
No.
cannot hear Yoshita. Dr. Sangeeta?
Yeah,
Yes.
Dr. Sangeeta is back.
So I cannot say ये connection बार-बार जा रहा है. That there is a girls today are aware about the PCOS and the health issues, but they are in general very much aware about any other thing. And most of the time, what we feel in the school that there is a lot.
We've lost her again somewhere.
Can I answer this question?
Yes, Sudeshna, I think we go ahead with you. Yes, please.
Yes. So definitely the awareness is far more than what we saw in our practice 20 years back. You know, the last 10 years, women are more aware because of the Google. But as I said before also, even if they are aware, they are not guided properly. So it is our responsibility as healthcare givers to give them the right guidance so that they don't have those consequences, whether it is a short term, whether it is an intermediate concern, or whether it is, and this is a very strong statement that Dr. Komal gave, that it is not the only problem that you come with. So usually they will come with acne at this stage, you know, or an obesity. So they are struggling with that. And once that is solved, so they just want a solution for that. They are not even patient, you know, they don't give us a patient hearing to understand what it is. And the mothers get very anxious about the long term, especially the pregnancy part of them, the fertility part of it. So we have to give them a lot of time to make them understand what is PCOS and what it implies.
So I want to know from each one of you, one by one, the doctors, what are those lifestyle changes that you are speaking about for such a long time? I want one line from each one of you. Say, for example, let's ask Komal. Komal, what lifestyle change would you tell a girl to undertake so that she doesn't get PCOS, or so that there's an improvement in PCOS which she already has?
So lifestyle change is the cornerstone of the treatment, and definitely we tell all the girls that they're a little stressful. The diet is not happening properly.
So diet.
It is
What
very
about the
erratic. Yeah, that is very erratic, and not sticking on to a diet pattern, and having fast food, junk food, processed food. You know, those things which needs to be curtailed from the diet. So that is a very important aspect of diet, and knowing, because there are all food fads also nowadays.
Yes.
They go on some particular kind of diet, which is some friend recommends or somebody recommends, and you know that then they will take, and they are devoid of essential nutrients. So lack of nutrition in a diet is very important, and it leads to problems later on. So that is the main thing, diet. And
so
second
diet
is
is one thing, and I think we also should understand that diet, not only as far as PCOS is concerned, but diet also to maintain a healthy weight. Would you agree?
Yes.
Because obesity is one of the cornerstones of PCOS also.
Yes, yes. And also then the other thing would be the weight management. You know, they need to really keep their weight in check. They need to do exercise, because exercise is something which is lacking. People don't go out, they don't exercise because of the stressful life and the stress which they carry. So yoga or breathing exercise, even young girls, I feel a sport, enrolling in some form of sport is a best exercise for them. They did not go to all these fancy gyms and other things, but taking up a sports or doing some 45 minutes of exercise every day will definitely help them to streamline.
Absolutely. In fact, the 2018 PCOS guideline has recommended that everyone should undertake, all the girls should undertake at least more than 150 minutes of exercise per week, if it is moderate exercise, and more than 75 minutes per week of vigorous, intense exercise. for prevention of weight gain and for prevention of PCOS. So I think exercise is, like you rightly pointed out, is one of the cornerstones of PCOS prevention. Any other point you'd like to make, Dr. Bipin, about lifestyle other than diet and exercise?
See, basically, all these girls are emotionally also disturbed because they are overweight,
Stress.
because of acne,
Stress.
because of the appearance. So basically, parental cooperation and the cooperation from the friends and from the teachers is extremely important. What we have to advise them is keep your body healthy, exercise well, as you said, watch what you eat, and write down every day what you eat. That makes them very conscious and have a healthy mind. Care for your appearance, make friends, and keep emotionally stable. Sometimes many of the girls I've seen, they go into severe depression because they cannot reduce their weight. My simple advice to them is do exercise, simple walking of 30 to 40 minutes every day. Don't take rickshaw when you come from school or college. Go walking, number one. Take the stairs. Thirdly, whatever you eat everything. There is no need to have a diet chart, but whatever you eat half. If you are eating 4 rotis, you eat 2 rotis. If you are eating 2 rotis, eat 1 roti. If you are eating 2 gulab jam, eat 1 gulab jam, because we are human beings.
Yes.
We crave for eating. Especially these young girls, they want to eat Punjabi samosa and pizza and everything. But whatever they are eating, they are used to eating every day. I tell them, okay, don't eat full samosa or 2 samosas, make 50%.
So
With
you
that,
made a fantastic point that we have to make the teenagers, you have to understand them and then talk to them according to the way
in
they want to
their
learn
language.
in
Plus,
their
you have to,
language.
parents have got very important role. They have to provide a stable, safe, and loving home environment. Many a times they don't lose weight or they put on weight, and parents are, especially the mothers, they are nagging them. शादी
Ah,
कैसे होगी?
I
खाना
like
कम
that.
Yeah,
खाओ?
yeah, that's a
Not-
real
Yoshita, oh,
question.
Yoshita has found a voice. We have to speak to Yoshita on this. Yoshita, you
Yes,
have to make a point. Do you
creating
think
an
here that there is
atmosphere of
also a
honesty,
parental problem here?
mutual trust, and culture of open communication.
No, we can't
Yeah,
hear you.
parents have to be friendly.
Yoshita is going to speak about this. Yoshita. So do you think there is a parental problem here too?
Definitely.
No,
Oh no, Yoshita.
we can't hear you.
Oh no, Yoshita, we can't still hear you. Okay, Dr. Sangeeta, will you please answer that? You need to unmute yourself, please.
I
As an education.
100% agree with Dr. Bipin when he said that how they put on a lot of weight. These are the stresses they have. Parental stress, there's no communication, and whatever communication they have is with their peer only, who again don't know anything. And or of course Google. So it is a lack of correct information, and also a loving and trusting environment at home is what is actually happening. And I blame parents also too much on the social media and too much involved in their own lives. They have no time. When the children are younger, they give a lot of time to them. The moment they become teenagers, the gap starts. We start seeing that parents, they don't turn up for meetings or open houses, or when we call them, they won't come and attend the annual day programs because they were busy out there, and children can take care of themselves. I always tell them, जो प्यार आप बचपन में बच्चे को दे रहे थे ना, वो प्यार आप अभी नहीं देंगे चलेगा, because they will forget about it. But when they go upwards after 10 years, give them that love that you were giving them when they were toddlers. They need to be held, they need to be cajoled, they need to, they have to sit with them and talk to them, have dinner, lunch together. These things help a lot. But I had a question. You were talking about obesity. Does it also help children who are very thin, very
Yes.
PCOS
Yes.
can happen in non-obese girls
that
also.
also we
There is
see
something known as
nowadays?
lean PCOS, which happens in thin girls. So obesity is not the
Correct.
hallmark of PCOS, but it is a very common aspect of it. And obesity can definitely worsen the problem. So
Yeah.
anybody who's obese and has PCOS needs to lose weight. Okay, but it does not mean that if you're thin, you will never get PCOS. That is the idea.
I
Now, I
always
have this.
advise, Suman, I always advise the parents when the mother comes that they have to develop a nice family culture of having meal together. And
Yeah.
Yes,
during meal, the family which eats together stays together. And they have
fantastic.
a good rapport with the children with friendship. They have to be friends with their adolescent children, both male and female. So that respect, that trust they develop
Great
with the
point. Great point.
Great point,
Dr.
because
Sudesh, I want to talk about one more aspect of lifestyle, and that is the night shift
sleep.
and the trend of keeping awake at night and complete change in the sleep patterns. What would you say to that? Does
Yeah, the
it have a role
sleep,
in hormonal imbalance and PCOS?
absolutely. Lack of sleep or not sleeping at the right time. So they know that they have to sleep for 7 to 8 hours. And so if they sleep at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning and sleep till 12 o'clock in the afternoon, they feel that they have completed that 6 to 8 hours of sleep. But we know that the body does not recognize that as sleep. So the hormones, there is a particular rhythm that the hormones are maintaining in the body, which is called a circadian rhythm. Now, that rhythm is very important for.
It's okay.
Are you?
Try.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. No,
Yes.
there is something wrong there.
Your voice is echoing basically.
Yes.
Oh dear. Okay, let me
I have a
make
feeling,
this point here.
if I may
So we are all
interject,
diuretics speakers, and in that is everything. Yash, we need to do something.
no, I think, Dr. Suman, I think if, everybody else mute themselves, I think it's someone else's speaker which is showing up, coming up and echoing.
Everybody other than Dr.
Yeah.
Suman, please mute themselves.
Okay. Can you all hear me? No, the echo doesn't go.
I think the echo is
No.
Yash, can you do something about this?
I think the echo is because I think
Another device?
No, it just appeared, right?
I think the live telecast is also somewhere the live telecast is on.
Yoshita, are you able to?
Yes,
We will
yes.
have to stop the live
Oh,
telecast.
finally we can hear you.
You can hear me. Great.
If you are using two devices at a time,
No. I think this is a live telecast or
I think Yoshita is the only one whose voice is not echoing right now. We should let her speak. Yoshita, we want your take on what the lifestyle changes are. We also see, we have seen how parents are struggling with this, teenagers are struggling with it. Why are our teenagers living a life like this? Why are they not able to understand that their health is more important?
Being too connected on social media to make here was to take care of the vitamin. Only adolescent girls, each one of us need to be as much as possible of natural sunlight mornings. So that could be just taking a walk or just standing in. It's so very important because otherwise it leads to mental wellness problems. That is my talk.
So what you're trying to say is that it's a very sedentary life and people are sitting indoors, they are not having enough exercise, not exposure to sunlight. See, I think as a medical expert, I would like to say that exposure to sunlight creates the hormone serotonin, which is the happy hormone. It improves mood, it improves energy levels, and that hormone later gets converted into melatonin, and that is the night or the darkness hormone. That melatonin gives rise to a good quality of sleep. So melatonin also
Yes.
improves mood and energy. So if you have less serotonin, you have less melatonin, poor sleep as well as low energy levels. And that is one of the reasons also for depression. Am I right, Yoshita? Depression is also common because of that.
Yes. And you made a very valid point, Dr. Suman. Melatonin leads to a whole lot of other problems, and most a vital point I want to make is please do not use these depression, stress, anxiety popping up in my practices. Asexual. I'm
Yoshita, we are able to hear you partly. Is everybody able to hear her? Yoshita, I'm so sorry. I can hear you partly, but your voice is coming in
everyone, but I'm trying my best.
I know. We are trying to understand it as well.
We are trying to understand it
There was
as well.
one point which I really wanted from both of you, Dr. Sangeeta and
From
Yoshita.
both of
You
you,
are,
Dr.
see, we
Sangeeta
are
and
doctors,
Yoshita, you are
but you all are living with the children. They don't come to
living
you
with the
for
children.
treatment. You are
They
living with
don't come to
them
you
day in and day out. So you know what it's like,
them day in and
to
day
be
out.
a
So
teenager.
you know what it's
So,
like.
Dr. Sangeeta, I want to know, is there more promiscuity
I
happening?
want to know,
What
is
about
there
the
more
sexual part,
promiscuity
because
happening?
hormones are raging. So what do you see? Do the other
Because
children open
hormones
about
are
it? Are the
raging.
girls
So
talking
what do you
about
see?
it
Do
to
the
you all, or they just going ahead with their thing?
talking
Do they
about it
talk
to
to
you
their
all, or
parents?
they
Do they
just
talk to you
going
as
ahead
teachers about their problems?
to
Yes,
you
we
as
have.
teachers? Yes, about their problems.
Over the years, we have been noticing
We have been
that whatever used
noticing
to happen in
that
11th
whatever
and 12th
used
standard is now happening in 6th and 7th standard.
standard is now happening in 6th and 7th
As you asked
standard.
about the behavior of children or the sexual
The
orientation or
behavior of
behavior
children or the
or
sexual
the
orientation,
kind of mindset we are
the
talking
kind of
about. And social media has
mindset
got
we are
a
talking
lot
about,
to contribute to this because they
got a lot to
experience
contribute to this
a
because
different kind of privacy when they are on their
a different
WhatsApp
kind of
messages.
privacy when they are
They are
on their
able
WhatsApp.
to do everything hiding from their
They're able
parents and
to do
teachers.
everything hiding from the
So
parents.
we do talk about it, and we don't talk
So we do
about
talk
it as
about
a
it,
common
and we
man, but
don't
we
talk
invite
about
doctors, and government is also doing a good
white
job here.
doctors,
The
and
BMC
government is also
doctors
doing a
are
good job.
regularly reaching out to schools, conducting
Are
sessions with
regularly
children,
reaching out to schools,
parents,
conducting
girls, boys together, girls, boys separately,
girls
various
boys
kinds of
together,
sessions
girls boys
happening, and we
separately,
take help of those doctors who talk very openly
and we
about
take
things,
help of those
and
doctors who talk
children,
very
they
openly.
confide in them when a doctor talks to them openly. Students, they confide in them, they talk to them about and they tell them about safe sex and what is the right age to indulge into all these things, how they have to protect their body, the importance of sleeping at the right time, eating at the right time. Children skip breakfast. They don't want to eat when they come to school early in the morning. They just don't want to eat. And it's very uncool to bring tiffin from home. So these are the trends happening, and they need a lot of counseling, lot of love, lot of care, and trying to understand them also is very important because they are, the generation which is is born in, as Dr. Sudeshna said, they are born with all those gadgets, and how can we try to take it away from them? But we have to guide them properly how to make these gadgets their strength and not weakness.
So, Yoshita, you think there are these psychological problems which are very unique to adolescents? Is it also partly related to the hormonal changes which are happening at that age? We can't hear you again. I'm so sorry. Yoshida, sorry, we cannot hear you. So we'll go on to the gynecologist right now once again. So now, as gynecologists here, okay, now we face a problem. There is a teenager who's come to us. She's got a hormonal problem, or she's got some other gynecological problem. We try to tell her, you make these changes in the lifestyle, do this, do that, lose weight. We do that all the time, right? How many times do we see a result? Does it really work? We counseling them. So Deshna, does it really work?
If it will work only when you give enough time to them and make them understand why they need it. If you give them only advice, they will not listen. If you give them if you criticize them that, oh, you're fat, oh, you have to come back, lose weight, or things like these, using these
So you should
languages.
not be judgmental, you say.
No, never, never. And you
Supportive.
understand, you make them, yes, that's the right word. You
Dr.
support
Bipin,
them
what
that
would
they
be
are
your
also
take?
struggling.
One line on how would you advise about weight loss? You've already told us about the chapati bit, that eat a little less.
See, it's extremely important to take them into confidence with their mother. That's very important. And we have to counsel the mother, both the parents, that don't shame their body. This is not in her
Yeah.
control. This
Yes.
is definitely
Yes.
because of her hormonal changes. Because of that, she is suffering. And we have to take them into confidence. We have to counsel them. And I've seen many girls losing good amount of weight. But I have also seen many doctors, gynecologists telling them, if you don't lose this weight, don't come to me again. That's a very
Oh,
wrong statement.
that's
Yeah.
very insensitive. Yeah.
What I advise them is buy a weighing machine, weigh yourself every day with the same clothes or without clothes at the same time. After buying, write down the weight. write down what you eat. That's very important. And try to reduce your weight by 10%. Most of them, if they are 65 or 70, they should reduce by 6.5 or 7 kg. That is more than enough. Their hormonal problems will come to line. They have oligomenorrhea, or they are not getting periods every month, every 2, 3 months. If they're getting, they will get regularized, will start ovulating, their acne will disappear, and PCOS also will disappear. So losing
Dr. Komal,
10% weight
Yeah.
is
any suggestions from you?
Yeah, see, like when they come, they really, when they come to a doctor or they have been brought by them, they really want a very big picture. They want everything, at one time. They want to lose weight, they want to look good, they want their hair to be good, everything. So we need to counsel that this is a process which is going to take time. It and give them
Exactly.
realistic goals. It is not going to be sudden, because what happens then, if nothing happens and they get disappointed after 15 days, 20 days, and that becomes a dropout, that I took some treatment and I discontinued, then somebody suggested something, I took that,
Yeah.
and then they come up after 2, 3 years with a bigger problem. So we need to tell them that it is a process, it is going to take time, and it is not going to happen at the click of a button. And I agree with Dr. Bipin sir, we need to give them realistic goal. Reduce 10%. It's not that you are going to achieve your dream weight so sudden.
Yes.
The weight which you lose slowly will not come fast, but what you lose fast, you will come back also sudden, because you're not going to stick on to that regime for lifelong. So that all we need to tell them, and they need to be really patient, and the whole family needs to make the changes. It is
Family
not
counseling
only
is
the
very important.
child.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, make
So,
the changes.
Can I
Dr.
add
you know
Zakir,
something?
what?
I would
I
like
have
to ask you
changed
this.
my,
Can I add something, Suman?
Okay,
See,
sure.
when you tell them to reduce weight by 7 kg, it is not very easy. First
Yeah.
1 or 2 kgs they will lose in 15 days. Another 1 or 2 in another 1 month. After that, it's most difficult. So, most important,
Yes.
teach them how to be patient. Teach the mother and the father, parents both, that this is not some magic, and you
yeah.
cannot stop a diet. But reduce the diet, weigh every day, write down the weight, write down what you eat, watch what you are eating, and reduce the weight slowly. So give them a fair time of 3 to 4, 5 months. That will
Yeah.
convince them.
In
Makes sense.
fact, I have changed the language of, communication, as I've removed the word lose weight. I I only say them that you maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's your target. If you target loss of weight, they will always have a number in their mind, which is unachievable for sometimes. And if they can't achieve that, then they feel disappointed. So more than giving them an advice on lose weight, I always tell them that target healthy lifestyle. This is the way
Good
that you
point.
need to
That's a good
go
point.
for a
So,
healthy
Dr.
lifestyle.
Sangeeta, I want to ask you this about the education system. How do you think there is enough health education in our curriculum as of today?
It is there in the it is there as a part of syllabus in all the subjects it comes. If it is languages, there could be stories about it. If it is biology, they do have all the reproductive systems, and then the references are there, which make references about health issues. Then there is a subject called physical education, which contains all these health related things about the weight. And then there is a medical regular examination, which we have to every month conduct it on a regular basis, to check the weight, height, development of a child, and maintain a record of it, which is also uploaded in the in a format for the there's a Saral format which goes to the government. It's a big platform where every information is being uploaded. So systems are there in place. The my only difficulty is the parents and the communication, lack of communication between parent and the child. all
This
the
is
So,
a big
all the
struggle.
negative things are happening
So
because of that.
Yoshita, is it where is the gap? If there is enough education available, of course there is enough material available on the net also. So where is the gap? Why are the children still going astray? Why are they still completely pursuing a very very unhealthy lifestyle? Other than of course the parental issues. We are not hearing you. Yoshida, would you be able to type something out? Can I read that out then? She's going to type it out, so we will get back to her on this. So every one of her, see, I think there is enough material about PCOS, hormonal imbalance, even sexual problems. Everything is available on the net. It's not like children don't have access to it. All the girls have access to it, and yet they are not following through. So these are the points which you are making, that this is the reason why children are not able to accept the advice. So we have to become more and more, I mean, the giving out the advice in the way in which they are able to more receive it. That is the point you all are trying to make, right? Is Yoshita back? Has she typed something?
Right. And if I may add to this, because
Yes.
I think there are a lot of parents also watching this. Sometimes, they start fighting in the clinic itself. And the looks, you have to understand the body language of the adolescent, that, one look at her and you will understand that she's just not liking that conversation which is already going on in the at home. So it is important that you separate them. Like, you can't separate a
So you're
18
talking
year
about the
or
mother
less
and
than.
daughter fighting. Mother and
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah. So you can't physically separate them, because a mother has a right to stay in the consultation before they are 18, before they have crossed the 18 years. But you have to separate them, that I need to talk to her only now. Don't talk. Like, these are the things that parents also have to realize, that the doctor is trying to help you, not the doctor is trying to take the take the daughter away from you. When we advise sometimes that, you have our number, which you can talk to us. No, they vehemently oppose that. No, it should come to us first and then go to the doctor. But there has to be certain channels where, she has to speak, and the parents have to have that confidence in one expert that they can rely on, who can be a moderating factor,
Fair
who
enough.
can
Fair
be,
enough.
yes, who can be communicating the right things that actually needs to be given. It is not the question of I winning over my daughter because I'm the parent. It is a question of her following what is actually needed, and whatever it
Yoshita
takes.
here is making a very important point here to what she's adding to what you said. Communication without fear and judgment is very important, she's saying. So
Yeah.
yes, the parents, if the child is afraid of the mother or what she thinks, or she's very judgmental or critical of the child, then obviously the child will not open up to her. And Yoshita adds further that adolescents just need support and need to talk to someone, starting with parents, teachers, and of course the counselors. I want to talk to you, Dr. Bipin. Have you noticed an increase in the amount of sexuality that, do you think sex among teenagers is quite common these days? Have you noticed a trend on that?
Notice it is very, very evident. So, providing sex education in the school and colleges for teenagers is extremely important. We teach
Somewhere,
them here the back.
Komal, can
Small
you mute
child,
yourself? I think there's a lot of
I
background
think
noise.
Dr. Komal, I think Dr. Komal, is that some noise there?
yeah. So
Thank you.
somebody is talking about. See, important role to provide stable, safe, and loving home environment. Schools and all, we teach them what is safe touch, a good touch for them. It's very, very important to they encounter relatives, male relatives, male friends, and other people when they are traveling otherwise. Themselves when some sexual involvement. I don't want to talk about POXO Act less than 18 encounter. We are supposed to inform the authorities. POXO because it's a separate involved into that. It is definitely on the rise, and the parents need to be very careful. They need to be very friendly, and they should trust their children and explain them.
Komal, do you think that there is enough of sex education and knowledge about contraception among teenagers today?
uh, so much is known to them, but still it is not the adequate because they don't know the correct information that is lacking. They need to know the filtered information because a lot of phobia and what is more is that they get pressurized by the peers more than the source of information. So I think if a person who is an elder, like a parent, or if a parent requires professional help, some doctor or somebody related to school, if the information comes from a person whom they know or trust, that information would be a proper filtered information. But taking information from peers, somebody doing this or somebody doing that, and then and what happens is that they have the knowledge, but like a example, like we have our teenagers, some young people coming and telling that I am taking contraceptive pill, and what is it? It's an emergency contraception. So they don't know that emergency contraception is an emergency purpose, and it is not called as a contraceptive pill. So all that thing, the terminologies which they use are completely different, and that has a adverse effect on their menstrual cycle. So it is so simple that the commonest example. So they are not knowing what is the right at for them for that age. Everything is there, the information, but the filtered which is required for them, they are not able to take it. So somebody should be guiding them. We need to have forums. We need to have education. We do a lot of activities per se from our Mumbai Obstetric Gynec Society, Foxy, for adolescent awareness. We are doing the school programs. We are trying to ask them question answers, and we are very surprised. Small girls coming out with shits. They ask so many questions. We had that youth mela, the Yuva sessions. So all that are the forums where we try to interact and we try to give them this right information related to contraception, lifestyle, all their adolescent issues.
So what I'm seeing here is that we have a plethora of information. Information is available everywhere. You, I, even the children know it. It's there on the net. That parents know it. Everybody knows it. But somehow we are not able to get it to be implemented and for the teenagers to accept it. So Yoshita, what are the barriers? Why are these teenagers so difficult to convince about anything? What is it, and how can we really get them to trust us more? Like such a beautiful point Dr. Komal has made, that when they trust, I think there's a need to know also, and they need to trust. So how do you get them to trust you? Would you just type a few messages on that, please? In the meantime, I'll just read out a few things which Yoshida has just mentioned here. She says that there should be age appropriate sex education. So there is sex education,
Yes.
but it has to be age appropriate. So there has to be what they do, I think Dr. Sangeeta can elaborate more on that. In school, they have a thing about anatomy. They show you the organs. They explain to you what is ovulation and how reproduction happens. But how exactly it is applied into practice, what exactly happens, and what are the psychology behind it, at what age you should do it, what are relationships, there is nothing really happening there. And I think relationships is a big problem with teenagers nowadays. Yoshida also says talk about consent. Let's talk about consent. Okay, now having consent is very important. Like Dr. Bipin Pandit said, the POCSO Act in India, Prevention of Child Sexual Abuse and Offences, that act clearly says that below the age of 18 years, any sex is illegal and it is punishable. It's a punishable offense, and if the girl is less than 18, it absolutely amounts to rape. So we are not supposed to encourage it, obviously, but it's still happening. So we are talking about it. And since our children are indulging in it, we need to give them the appropriate tools to handle themselves. So, Dr. Sangeeta, so what do you have to say on this age-appropriate sex education?
Yes, Dr. Suman, you rightly said that everything is available. It's there in the syllabus. Children right from 7th, 8th, 9th standard, they study about the anatomy and everything. But we need, and sometimes teachers are not able to handle it very well, because they start teaching and then somebody, passes a comment, or they smile or they laugh, and the teacher gets very nervous. Many times, not always. Some teachers who are senior, they know how to handle, how to talk about it, and they are handling it very nicely. But when the teacher cannot handle it properly, here comes the need of experts. And experts like doctors and special educators who come and talk only about these things, sex education, how to handle the people around you, other psychological aspects. And schools need to really take up sex education and also guidance and counseling with the help of experts, because they can talk to the children properly, and whenever we have done that, we always see good results there. And there are many
Yoshita,
organizations, NGOs, they are working on it. There are paid services available, as well as NGOs who just come and do it for your school and do it. It's the principal and the teachers should be aware about it, and they should take the help of experts.
okay. Yoshita has added here, lots of terms and labels are being used loosely, and that needs to be curbed, and the right information needs to be given surely through talks and to create awareness, something which we are attempting to do today as well. Okay. So
Ma'am,
now,
and not only for the teenagers, that has to begin from the pre-primary, preschool.
okay, so that's another important point. So it has to
Yes,
begin right from a very, very
preschool,
early stage. I think
very
now we are
early.
coming up to the closure. So let's see. Now we have understood that there is a problem. Yes, there is a need to address it. And yes, these are the challenges we are facing. The kind of resistance which we are seeing from the teenagers and from the lifestyle problems which we are in general facing. So now let's think of some action points and some solutions. Everyone come up with some solutions to the problem of the implementation. You understand? So at the educational level, at the doctors level, at the social level, as a society in general, what could we do? Dr. Sudesh, now, do you think there is some kind of a way in which we can all collaborate and come to at least share some ideas on how to implement some solutions, make a dent on this? Please unmute yourself. Dr. Sudeshna, please unmute.
Yeah, implementation is mainly through awareness talks like this. The more we talk about this, the more we speak about them in public, the more we are taking away the taboo from these subjects. The more we make them normal, the more we give them the power to accept what's going wrong and communicate it with others. So awareness and talks, the more we do it, the better it is. Like everything, even if we do it every day, it is still short of time. And the other thing is, because of the social media and this fine line between the being judgmental and being the right person to talk to, that's a very fine line we have to touch. We have to give them the right information, even if they feel that we are being judgmental. Like, for example, an HPV infection is definitely something which comes through sexual activity before the age of 18 or 20. It is more, we have to give them that information. We are not moral policing them. We cannot be their parents. But we have to create a platform where these things are being discussed. We should not be seen as somebody who's encouraging this, but we have to face the reality, and we have to talk about these in a language which doesn't seem to be judgmental, but giving you the right information. That is the most
Yoshita
important
has
thing.
added here, we have to talk in their language, be clued into their activities and the current trends, and we have to bring down their barriers. So she's also mooting the same point.
So
Dr.
the same
Sangeeta,
thing as Dr. Komal said, that trust, you build up that trust, not only from the girl, but also from the parents, that there is somebody who they can come and discuss, or they can come and communicate.
so Dr. Sangeeta, any advice for the parents that you were talking
Yes.
about? So
I would advise parents to allow children to take part in all the activities that happen at school level, because I have been trying this and it's very successful attempt, that whenever we face such problems with some children are a little more promiscuous or maybe little more active in this kind of this side, so we put them into sports, we put them into different activities where a lot of engagement is required and distraction of mind happens. पेरेंट्स आर द वन हु से नहीं नहीं अभी इसमें मत जाओ, अभी उसमें मत जाओ, अभी बैठ के घर में पढ़ाई करो, why you should take part in this, why you should take part in this. But there is a request to parents, if they are watching, that please allow your child to take part in activities, because this is one thing that is really very, very helpful to divert their mind from all the kinds of disturbances or physical hormonal changes happening. If they are into sports, if they are into dancing, music, whatever is the interest that they have, if they get themselves involved into it, it really helps. And of
fantastic.
course, counseling and everything else which happens in the
So,
school.
Dr. Komal, any point you would like to make about how the community could help us manage PCOS and hormonal imbalance, or adolescent health problems like sexuality better? So, how could the community participate in that? Any advice for society? Dr. Komal, are you there? I think she's the video is lost, or is it? Dr. Komal, can you hear me?
Dr. Komal, you need to unmute
Please
yourself.
unmute yourself.
Yeah, but I can't hear Dr. Suman speaking. I can hear other people speaking. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
I can't hear Suman speaking, but I can hear you, and I could hear Sudeshna speaking.
Oh dear. Can you hear me
Hello?
now?
Yeah, what do I have to talk about?
Is there any thoughts
No,
on
I
how the
can't hear
community?
Dr. Suman now.
Oh, sure.
We will
Dr.
repeat what
Bipin,
Dr.
can you hear
Suman is
me?
saying.
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah.
yeah.
Suman, if you could just repeat the question you had for Dr. Komal, I will call it out
Okay.
again.
The question is that uh, how could the community participate in helping prevent PCOS?
Yes, I think I can hear Dr. Suman now.
Yeah.
So, how can the community help? Yeah, PCOS requires a lot of awareness. First thing is that we need to have an awareness around PCOS. We need to make everybody aware, like what is right PCOS, because there are a lot of misconceptions. Patient comes being labeled and tagged. We come patients, they have some cycle irregularity, they go to some general practitioner, and they have been labeled PCOS, and they'll go with the label. So we really need to know, they need to know whether they're actually PCOS. They have taken the right amount of treatment. They will say, yes, somebody had diagnosed me PCOS, no treatment taken, something. So that tag of, they will call it PCOS. They will come with that terminology. They will carry forward, and not a proper information is given. So this awareness needs to be there to identify which is right PCOS first thing, and then what is required for the PCOS, because once they feel that their cycles are irregular, and then there are a lot of concerns about menstrual irregularity, about reproduction, and sometimes even contraception, because they feel that their cycles are irregular, they will not get pregnant. So all that awareness needs to come, so that they know what is expected of them to do, and how they can carry forward it and incorporate in their lifestyle. So definitely the society needs to conduct sessions like this. I think this session was a nice enlightening session. Doctors are doing their responsibility. I think everybody are doing at different level. The school is doing at different level. The counselors will do at different level when they'll come. The doctors, gynecologists, but a common platform where we can come together and we can speak to them. That will definitely be more impactful. So
Fantastic.
I
You know
think
what?
it's time to join hands.
Great, great.
Yes. So
Dr. Bipin,
talking
I
of
want
the
to ask you one
community,
thing. Since
Suman,
Dr. Bipin,
one
yeah.
minute. I saw this wonderful thing on Zomato one day that my daughter was ordering something, and then there was a pop up saying that do you know that this food that you're ordering has these many calories, and they have these things. So can you order something like this, or if you order something like this, it will it can reduce your carb intake by this. So I thought that was very powerful. That immediately gave her a chance to choose a healthy alternative. So talking of the community, if you say, it is not only the doctors, but everyone who is giving out, see, they have to have junk food, they have to have these industries, but these industries also have to be responsible enough to give them the right alternative. As Dr. Sangeeta said, that they are giving a fantastic alternative, that they are making people, the girls, active or distracted in a far more useful manner. Similarly, all the communities put together should be somewhere responsible to give them some kind of advice which will steer them from taking the right from
So
taking the
basically,
wrong decision.
social responsibility from all sectors.
From
I
all
think that is a
sectors.
very good point. I think in the same context, I think Dr. Bipin can enlighten us on this, because he's been very active with our organization FOGSI, that is the Federation of Obstetric and Gynecological Societies of India. Dr. Komal and Dr. Bipin are very, very active on that front, and they have done a lot of work in that. So Dr. Vipin, could you please tell us what are our gynecological associations and organizations doing at the national and state and regular the local levels to combat these problems?
See, basically, our association job is to have continuous medical education and to educate our doctor members about the problem, the PCOS, and how big is the problem. So many times what we have seen is when the patient enters your consulting room, they sit in front of you and the mother says, this is my daughter and she has got PCOS. Self-diagnosis from Google. They have only diagnosed it. So we need to counsel them. Most important job, I think, more than community is family. I think the parents and the family have to be open, very communicative. We have to counsel them also along with this. We need to build a trust. And most important is communication and counseling in this case. And we have to convince them that PCOS is not a disease itself. So nowadays they don't call it PCOD, they call it PCOS syndrome. It's a syndrome and it is totally correctable. So don't go by what is written in the Google about the malignancy and the diabetes. And yes, these are the problems and the infertility. But yes, you can become pregnant. Once they get a confidence in the doctor who is talking to them or the counselor, they will follow definitely your advice blindly. I've seen so many girls who come with 70 kg and they have gone to 60 kg within a short time and everything has been regularized. So you need to build a trust between the patient's mother and you.
So there's a final point I would like to make, Naresh. I think you can move this also. Is that, see, abroad they have a lot of forums for various kinds of diseases, whatever it be, like we have an Alcoholics Anonymous. Similarly, you could have a PCOS forum. You have PCOS groups. You have them abroad a lot. India, you have very few. I don't know. Dr. Sudeshna has definitely started off one of them. So if you have a group or a forum where the patients or the women can chat amongst themselves rather than be sermonized by doctors, and they can discuss amongst themselves, and then of course we could also have doctors and the community leaders as part of it, the teachers, the educators, etc., and they give in their own inputs. So here everybody comes in as equals. So I think the receptivity is likely to be a little better, and maybe we can get the desired results a little more easily. What do others have to say to that, Naresh?
I think this is a wonderful suggestion. I think all the points that have come out through the discussion are extremely useful. But I think and what RISE is all about is exactly this: cross-sectoral dialogue leading to cross-sectoral collaboration. And I think what's come out here very clearly is the fact that a lot of good efforts are going on. I think Sudeshna pointed that out. In separate silos perhaps. And this kind of cross-fertilization of ideas and action points is going to make a dent in the problem, in the issue. I think it's going to make a massive dent. I think the whole topic that we had today, let's invest in a nation's future. I mean, this is so critical. I mean, investing in a girl's health and an adolescent girl's health is so important because it has repercussions down the line, and the country will suffer if we do not look at it. So I think what you suggest, Dr. Suman, is excellent. Having a forum of of peers to talk about it is one thing, but I suggest taking this conversation ahead, these collaborative exercises. I mean, for example, Dr. Sangeeta is a major player in the education system. How about tying up with the gynecological association or any of your associations and say, hey, how do we take it to that level that we want? Maybe there are some lacunae in the existing health systems or health education systems, which your groups can do it. And not only gynecological, there are so many other aspects that can be added as well. So yeah, that's what I think. My two bits on this.
I think one very important aspect of managing PCOS is the psychological aspect, and therefore I think having a psychologist even at our own clinic, or being partly a psychologist to the child or the adolescent girl who's in front of you, I think that is also very important. And like Dr. Sudeshna pointed out, being very gentle with her, non-judgmental behavior. As Dr. Komal said, trust is very important. And as Dr. Bipin pointed out that, getting her to get involved and getting the whole family counseling and involvement, everything. I think all these points are fantastic points made. And I hope there are enough listeners listening to this, and maybe we can, have some action points around that. So I think with that, we can conclude today's session. Naresh, he's all smiles.
Thank you, Dr. Suman, for moderating this so well. I mean, when you have a wealth of experience of the kind that we have had on this group, It's difficult to tap everything in a 1 hour session, but I think you've done a great job. And I think every participant has done so much to make this session so enriching. I really apologize for the technical issues, and personal apology to Yoshita. But thankfully, she could, put a few of her comments on the chat, and we managed to get her in. Dr. Sangeeta also had another meeting which she had to go through. So finally, I would just say, thank you first of all for shining a light on a very, very critical issue. To have it at the level at which the level at which you operate in your own fields, actually brings home the importance of this issue. And Rise is absolutely, we were delighted to have had you with us. And but we would also be very interested in knowing whether, if you want to take this ahead into some kind of collaborative action that we can roll out, in the months and years to come. So I think on behalf of Rise, I can, definitely assure you that Eyebrow and Rise would support you with any kind of initiative in which we can work on this issue in collaboration. So Dr. Bipin, Dr. Komal, Dr. Suman, Dr. Sudeshna, Dr. Sangeeta, and Yoshita, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Many of you have been roped in just yesterday, and done such justice to the topic. I couldn't have really expected anything better. Let's keep talking about this. Let's keep
Thank you
talking
all so
about
much. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Naresh.
Bye.
you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.